Now, in order to make this an academic argument, you would need to have some other sources, some outside sources. These are normally scholarly sources. They could be newspapers, certain magazines, journals, some source that's going to build the credibility for your argument. And then you have to think about the opposition. What will the other side say? You'll need to include their arguments, being as fair-minded as you can be, and then you'll need to respond to the opposition arguments. Okay? So let's look at the general structure again. So we've got the introduction of the problem, which will lead to the thesis statement, right? That states your opinion concerning this problem. So let's look at a sample rhetorical situation. So let's imagine there's someone who is asking for a change in their work schedule. This is this person's rhetorical situation, building up to the thesis statement. Debunco Incorporated takes pride in its policy that good workers are valued. I consider myself a good worker. I've been here for 7 years without ever calling in sick or using more than half of my vacation time. My performance reviews show a proven track record of my meeting and exceeding company expectations. I would like to maintain that successful record, but I cannot continue to work 80 hours per week. Therefore, I'm asking that you allow me to work a flexible schedule. Now, the section that we see here, from debunco to I cannot continue to work 80 hours per week, this entire section, that would be the rhetorical situation. You're providing a context for your audience so that they understand where you're going and what you want them to focus on, all right? And then this bottom statement, therefore I'm asking that you allow me to work a flexible schedule. This would be the proposition, the position statement, or your thesis statement. Okay, so we've looked at the rhetorical situation. Then what you'll do, either in the rhetorical situation or as part of your argument, would talk about other instances, build up the significance of the problem. What's the impact? Think of those things in your argument that will be very important for the audience to know. What things will you need to convince them of, right? So give them some instances. Usually you can do this as part of the rhetorical situation. Give the history of the problem as part of the rhetorical situation. Talk about how bad the impacts can be if we don't consider your proposition. You can do that as part of the rhetorical situation. You also want to talk about the extent of the issue. Who is affected? How bad will it be? And sources are good things to use here. Statistics, testimony from experts, anything here that you can use that will show them the significance. And then, of course, you need to explain why your way of thinking is important, why this particular issue, this position that you are taking concerning this issue is important, and why. This is another good area for sources. Once you do all of these things, you should lead up to a conclusion that firmly states a sound argument. You want to pull all of these things together. The history of the problem, examples of the problem, who's affected, your way of thinking. Pull all of that together and connect your argument with those facts. Anticipate the objections, because that's the opposing arguments, and then you need to make accommodations. Sometimes you can give in to some of the arguments of your opposition, but you'll need to refute as many of them as you can in order to advocate your position.